The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, the Top 5 Online Marketing Steps for 2015 with Susan Blizzard. Before I introduce our speaker anymore, I wanted to remind everyone that you are muted so that everyone can hear the presentation clearly. You're welcome to ask questions at any time using the questions box on your GoToWebinar control panel. We'll get to those throughout the presentation. I wanted to introduce Susan Blizzard. She has operated Blizzard Internet Marketing for 17 years. She has a bachelor's degree from Duke University and an MBA from Columbia University. After earning her MBA, she worked with middle market and startup companies on Wall Street until she started her own company. Blizzard Internet Marketing provides comprehensive online marketing services with a group of experts in all areas of online marketing, including SEO, pay-per-click, email marketing, social media, local search, analytics, usability, web design, custom booking engines. They have over 80 clients that are achieving exceptional results compared to their competitors. And she is going to spend the next hour with us, or approximately an hour, talking about the next things that you should be looking for 2015. So please join me in welcoming Susan to CHPA.
Thank you so much, Amanda, and thanks for that great introduction. And sorry you had to read a whole litany of online marketing services as part of the introduction, but we do a significant number of different online marketing activities here, and I'm really happy to be here and explain what we do and what we see as the most important high priority things that you need to do in order for your website and your online marketing to be successful. I also, before I move to the next slide, I want to highlight here in yellow, I've made a special link for people who are participating or members of CHPA. You can go ahead to this link and sign up for a free online marketing benchmarking report. It will give you, you designate which competitors you want to benchmark compared to, and we will analyze that for you. It is not automated. It does take us time to do it. And we will benchmark your website and your online presence in general compared to your competitors. So please go ahead and note that link. It's just blizzardinternet.com/CHPA. With that, I will move on to see whether you guys have had your coffee. This is, some of you know, is Amazon's newest idea in being really clear on how to service customers. And it is called the Amazon drone. There are lots of drones have become very popular. I saw this first in January this year. I thought it was just sort of sci-fi, but apparently a lot of people now, when I've presented this material, have said they've seen these drones, and in fact are using some drones for great pictures of their accommodations by getting an aerial view and using them for all sorts of other cool applications. But why would I talk about the Amazon drone when I'm talking about online marketing? The reason I am is because Amazon is not only one of the best online websites in terms of success, but is also an amazing retailer. And in all of our industries, including lodging, which is where I have spent the last 17 years in online marketing, there are bigger and bigger companies with really huge budgets and resources to compete online. So the competition has gotten fierce. And what these companies are doing, especially the ones that do the things well, like Amazon, is they're getting very clear about who they're targeting and what those people want from them. Amazon even filed for a patent for something, or was granted a patent for something called anticipatory shipping. So not only are they going to have these drones that can deliver things same day, they also are going to anticipate what you are about to order, get it close to where you are, and when you do order it, it's going to come that much more quickly. So they're going to put things in warehouses of what you like to order, when you like to order it, so that you get your things really, really quickly. How does this apply to you? Well, the most important thing, because of competition online, that you need to focus on is your target. Who are you targeting to come and use your services? So for the Corporate Housing Providers Association, I took this, this graph from, you can see, chpaonline.org. It is a breakdown of a lot of the different industries that this association serves, or that members of the association serve. And certainly you understand you need to really need to target each one of these industries with specific ways of marketing, with specific messages. That's the easy part. Definitely you have to understand your industry or industries that you market to, but more so, think about what do they want. That's a little bit more difficult. And today, this is also a CHPA a workshop, I think, that's going on right now, or a seminar in Chicago, that the speaker is Eileen McDonald, but she said it's not really all about price. Nothing is actually always all about price, even with these corporations that probably beat you up on price all the time. People think that customer service and flexibility are the same thing, but they are not. In other words, what is it that your companies really want and value, and make sure that you give it to them? So how do you analyze that and figure out what that is? There's an acronym that I love. It's by, where I heard it first was from a man named John DeJulius. John DeJulius has a blog and a service that is one of the best customer service blogs I've ever read. But I love this acronym particularly because I can remember it, FORD. And when you think about the types of people that are coming to stay with you, you need to think about these 4 dimensions as a general overview of what people value and what messages you need to craft to reach those people. So their family status, are they married, are they not married, do they have children, do they not have children, is all very, very important. Their occupation clearly is important, but even beyond the industry that you're serving, think about, are these people more of your technology people working in the corporation? Are they people that are doing marketing jobs? It makes a difference in terms of how to message to them, how to talk to them, what channels to use, etc. Recreation and recreational needs. Do they like to go swimming? Do you have a pool? Do you not have a pool available? Do you have all of the different resources that are available in the area for their recreational needs? And most importantly, what are their dreams? And when you get into dreams, it gets pretty specific. It's not the easiest thing, though. And when you I hope everyone on this call uses Google Analytics, but if you go into Google Analytics, in the last year, Google Analytics has added demographics and interests. And it's the interest section that I'm really getting at here, which is, what are these people interested in who are coming to your website? If you can craft and beef up the information in your website that they're interested in, then you are really addressing your target market's dreams. So, for example, if you turn on the demographic and interest area of Google Analytics, it is a click of a button. It takes time. It's not going to be retroactive, so go and do it today. But go in there and look in the interest sections and see what kind of interests the people who come and visit your website are interested in. That's a very important thing for crafting your messages and maybe getting a leg up over other companies that are not able to have that type of information. So those are what niches are best for you. This is an example of your brand. Just think about, what is your brand? Hopefully everyone has given a lot of thought to what your brand is. And you think, okay, well, my brand is, well, we're top-notch, high quality, or you name it. It's not really, brand is not really what you think. when you think about brand, what you need to think about is a little bit of a different way. You need to think of brand in a different way. You need to think of your brand as what people think of you as opposed to what you want them to think about you. Hopefully those are similar, but they're hardly ever identical. And where am I going with that? Where I'm going with that is that you need to really understand what people think of you in all different ways. So the current corporate relationships that you have, that's unique to you. You need to understand what they think of you, not so much what you're trying to tell them they should think of you. And this is what's unique to you compared to large companies that are definitely dominating the internet today. So the more that you get really dialed in and target your particular customer group and understand their unique advantages, the better off you're going to be able to do in marketing your website online and marketing your company in general online. Other unique things that no one else has but you is your email marketing list. You should be segmenting your email marketing list and giving messages to those different segments that are crafted specifically for them. Your social media presence is unique to you. The people who like you on Facebook are unique to you. They are not identical to anybody else out there, and the same with LinkedIn. Your local partners that you work with that can provide you referrals, that's unique to you. And if you have a mobile app, you also have some other information about people who have come and stayed with you that no one else has. And then there are ways to really use that mobile app to market to those people, even though you may not ever really have as much information as based on just their the person who's paying the bills. So the people that are also family members or come to stay with that family member in your corporate housing, you can use a mobile app and get those people's names as well, which is an additional possibility for you to market to them and get more of a leg up versus the competition. Lastly, another thing a lot of people overlook, but it's really changing online now, is with the visitors to your website. With the visitors to your website, you can remarket to them with Google AdWords, you can remarket to them with Facebook, and you can figure out what ads really work well for those people, as well as these are people that are unique to you. Again, you don't need to go and get them from somebody else or beat the competition or any large company that is beating you online by spending tons and tons of money. You can remarket to the people that have already seen your website, been on your website, and for whatever reason haven't moved forward with it, but you want to keep on serving up ads to them so that they don't forget about you. So that's step number one, and that's targeting. Step number two is integrating. And a little bit of funky math here. 1 + 1 = 3 at least, meaning the more that you keep that message out there in different channels, the better off overall you do. And it's not just additive, it is cumulative. Above and beyond. It makes it 1 + 1 = 3. Here's a statistic for you and to demonstrate what I mean. When you have certain keyword phrases that your website ranks really well for, and you also have online ads for those same keyword phrases, if those are both showing up on the search results page in Google, so you have a paid ad at the top and you have your SEO organic ranking also on that page, and hopefully even you could be coming up on a local search result as well. You will have more clicks than just the two added together. So I believe the number is around the line of 30% more click-throughs, so not 30% more, but 30% click-throughs. So if you had from your paid ad 25% click-through rate, or at 20% click-through rate, 10% from the SEO ad, or SEO ranking, sorry, not an ad, from of the free listing, which is your organic listing, it will not be 30%, it'll be more like 32 to 35%. So it's additive. The more that you are getting that, using different channels and getting those messages out there, it's doesn't just add together, it's 1 + 1 = 3. How do we do this? We do this for our clients because we know it's that effective, and the general areas that we use are, we make sure that the message is on the website for a particular target market segmented group. We make sure that our email message goes to that same segment. We use paid ads that are targeted at that same segment, and then we use social media channels to target those segments. It gives you the maximum impact, and that's what integrated marketing is, particularly online. If you're not doing this, you need to do it. There are some easy tools you can use. All of our clients use WordPress as their website platform, and as a result there are a lot of free tools or cheaper paid plug-in tools that allow you to share the message in different channels all at once. They're not perfect, but they get the job done. And so as a result, if you can use some type of social sharing tool, you're able to get this type of impact and get the integration that I'm talking about. Another tool that we like to use that's not on the website, if you don't have WordPress, is either Hootsuite or Sprout Social. And both of those companies have paid services, paid tools, sproutsocial.com or hootsuite.com. And you can use those to get that message out in all different channels. And the more that you do this, the better off you are at getting your results. If you're not doing this, and your competitors are also, you are losing out. Here's an example of integrated content marketing for one of our clients. So we use the social areas. Hopefully you can see my pointer here. And then we point all the different social channel messages back to a blog post on their website. Again, since we use WordPress, it's easy to add a blog post. If you can't use a blog, then at least you should have a landing page where all of your information points back to. In this case, our client was listed as, was cited in USA Today, so we were able to push this message out. It's a very nice, newsworthy message, and push it out with a picture. It all points back to the blog post. We use different SEO techniques in every single one of these channels, so SEO is not just for your website. And then the blog post also has social sharing so that you can share the blog post back out to the social channels. This doesn't show the paid ads that were run along with this, as well as email marketing blasts that went along with this message. I think if there are any questions, I'm not seeing any questions, so I'm going to move along. I'm going to move on to now mobile, and everyone should have gotten a question from Amanda polling you on whether you have a mobile site, and if you haven't answered that question yet, please do let Amanda know.
Hold on 1 second, I'll launch it and they can do that. You should see it on your screen right now.
Ah, poll open, there it is. Organizer must close poll to enable it. Got it. Okay, terrific. So the poll is started, and let me talk a little bit about mobile. As you know, everyone is using many mobile devices now, and mobile devices are changing dramatically so that some people are opting not even to be taking a computer, and they use either a mobile phone, tablet, or other type of device as a computer. This is an example of the mobile view of a responsive website that we've made. Responsive means that it's all one website, but it shows different views in different devices. So right now you're seeing the phone view. Please make sure that if you have anything that's optimized for mobile, you have the phone number front and center, particularly for the phone view. It's amazing how many people don't have that front and center. Even I've seen restaurants do the same mistake, and it's amazing to me. But phones should have the phone number front and center. And you also want to design it for fat fingers. So you've got the large buttons right here for Book Now and Menu. You can use a finger instead of trying to click a link. That's one way to make sure that your site is optimized for mobile. And don't forget pictures, because certainly it conveys a lot of information. In other words, this is a happy place in this case. And it conveys a lot of information quickly. Okay, so that's just the mobile view. Why do we want to do mobile when people really don't actually do the purchasing action, particularly for this industry, on mobile? Well, the fact of the matter is, the research shows, and this is from 2013, it's from Google, it's Google Think. If you haven't been on there, there's an amazing amount of free information that's terrific statistics, but this is 2013 showing that travelers use all screens to engage in travel-related activities. These are affluent travelers, which I think is also what everyone's targeting. But if you think about it, it only makes sense. You use whatever device is closest to you at the time that you need it. And so people are using or looking at your website in all different devices at any given time, and you need to be, ever since 2013, this is a year old, you need, as Google says, a multi-device strategy is no longer optional. If that doesn't convince you, here's what Google is showing on phones now. Now, not everyone is seeing the same results. On the left is what I see when I use my iPhone. I'm seeing the green phone symbol next to this website because this website is mobile friendly. And here's an example of what someone else saw in the last month or so. It says mobile friendly with the words. Google likes to test things. Google is constantly changing. And this is all things that have been rolled out in the last 30 days. So Google is actively rewarding, particularly in mobile devices, mobile-friendly websites. And here's something that I have not been able to replicate. If I look on my phone, I do not see these results. I got this from a blog post, but here's what they were showing. They were showing, actually, if it's not mobile-friendly, Google showing it a slash through the mobile phone as the icon. So Google's pretty adamant about getting your site mobile optimized. So if your website does not look great on a phone, you need to be thinking about changing that soon, because that is going to, if it's not already hurting you a great deal, it's going to hurt you soon. There are some people that have mobile websites. Those are not getting rewarded by Google. I don't have an example of it, but if you have a website that's just a mobile website, it doesn't have all the content that your main website has. If your mobile website has 100% of all the content that your main website has, then it's not a mobile website, it's a responsive website or something along those lines. There's some other types of, I won't get too geeky on you and tell you the other types, but if you have a site that is only a mobile website, the way you can tell is if you're searching on a phone for a specific type of content on your website, a specific page, or maybe you have an article on your website about an event nearby. If you search on a phone and then you cannot access that content, you have a mobile website that's separate from your main website. And Google is penalizing, not penalizing, but Google is discouraging that type of structure. Why? Google wants to retain its 90% market share in search on mobile phones. 90% market share. That's not their market share on a desktop. But on a phone, they want to retain that, and if they're giving search results that show information that is not there, in other words, you click on that link from the search and you get the homepage of your mobile website, but the homepage of your website, you don't get the content you want, you're not going to be happy, and you might actually stop using Google on your phone. That's what Google's afraid of, and that's what they're going to continue to penalize if you don't have a mobile-friendly website. If you want to check how well your website does in mobile, I've got a tool here. We go a little further. It's called feedthebot.com. And feedthebot.com has a mobile section where you can test your website to see whether it is doing well. And go back, and we'll come back. We'll see that again in a second for those of you that didn't write it down. This is just an example of what I'm talking about, how a mobile website or a responsive website has the same website. This is what it looks like on a laptop or a desktop. This is what it looks like on a tablet. You can see it's an iPad right here. This check availability has been moved down because the space left to right is not as wide as on a computer, and so maybe making a better use of the space. This is the tablet horizontal view, and then you already had seen the iPhone view. I've got rotate right here because, frankly, unlike a desktop, your tablet and your phone can be rotated, and yes, you do need to design your website and look at your website in both tablets and phones, in the landscape and the portrait views, in the horizontal and the vertical views. About 60% of people, I understand, or maybe even 55%, prefer the tablet horizontal view over the vertical tablet view. That means you have to design for both. It's almost 50-50. So, and this is responsive for screen sizes. That's why it's called responsive. The website responds for the different devices. It's not a separate mobile site. Okay, so also for mobile, one other thing that you need to be paying attention to is that everything that I talked about for integrated marketing is different for mobile. So we just went over website differences with the mobile, needing it to be optimized for mobile devices. Email, some emails are easier to read on your phone than others, and I suspect 100% of my audience today is reading email at some point on their phone. If you're not, you're tempted to, but it certainly is convenient to keep up with your email on your phone since it's something that's always with you. Paid ads, you should always have mobile optimized ads. They are different from the ads that are shown on desktop. The number of words should be shorter. You should emphasize phone numbers. There's a lot of things you need to think about with a mobile ad, and you need to readdress all of your paid ads for mobile if you haven't already done so. And then social media, frankly, most people use Facebook as on their phone. There's a significant number that use it on their phone. And LinkedIn shows statistics that 50%, or they expected for 2014, 50% of people to use LinkedIn on a mobile phone. So social media, when you do anything, you're most likely posting and doing things on a computer, but you need to think and look at the phone. You do it on the computer because you can upload the photos easily, you can do all sorts of things easily. You got a nice keyboard to do everything you need to do, but you need to optimize your social media campaigns for the phone. And here's that URL again. I'm going to ask Amanda if we got any answers from the poll of how many people have a mobile website.
Sure, I can bring that up. Does anyone else see that, or am I the only one who sees that?
I don't see anything.
Okay.
Do you want me to change it to you?
Yes, sorry.
Okay. Change presenter. I will change presenter to you. Okay. So we have 50% that say yes, 21% that say no, and 29% don't know. Okay. Well, I think I sufficiently confused you then, I'm sure. Certainly you can test your website by looking in a phone and checking it. You also can use this URL called feedthebot.com and do the mobile analysis, and it will give you what your homepage looks like in a phone. By the way, you can also run all your other pages on your website through that, or the significant ones. But that would be one way that you can find out whether you do have a site that works well in mobile phones. So, Amanda, if you can give me back the presentation, I will keep on going. Okay, am I back on?
Not quite yet.
Okay. So it's good to hear that 50% believe they've got a good mobile website, because that's very, very important. I imagine that will continue to increase. Do you want me to keep talking while you work that one out?
Do you have, can you show your screen now?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. My fault. Okay. Yes. There we go. Can you see my screen, Amanda? We good?
Yes, thank you.
Terrific. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. All right. So now that you've had that time to digest the first three, we're on to step 4, which is the thing that, step 4 of what you really need to pay attention to is something called Google+. It's also called Google My Business. Google has changed the name for this area of Google several times. It used to be Google Places, it was Google Local, it's what puts you on the Google map and gives you a listing with your Google map, and so in all different ways. I'm sure everyone is familiar with this area of Google because you've been significant users of it, and if you use if you do any kind of searching on your phone, you're often getting Google Plus results, and I'm going to call it Google Plus. But it is called Google My Business now, so that everything that is in the local search area of Google is all combined under Google My Business, including Google+. But I'm giving you an example of a Google Plus page, and this one's for a company called Great Western Lodging. You can see the address, and you can see that it has the click for following. This is one of the craziest things I've seen in 17 years, which is that this company, that Google, being as powerful as Google is, of course, has this product called Google+. A lot of consumers don't use it or find a ton of value in it. Facebook took off like a rocket. There's all sorts of other social sharing, social channels that have taken off like a rocket. Google+ has never taken off like a rocket. But even though many people don't use it, as a primary place for social sharing or information, it is incredibly important for your local search results to maintain a good Google Plus page. And what do I mean by that? So first of all, you have to have the Google Plus page. But let me show you where this information gets displayed. This is called the carousel. It is a black strip that sometimes you can see it on a desktop. It is changing rapidly within Google, or daily, if not hourly, and you can see it sometimes on a mobile phone. But basically, it's called the carousel, and it's an attempt again on Google's part to make sure that they don't lose any type of market share by the significant number of mobile devices that are out there for phones and tablets. So Google Plus is the place where these photos are stored and why they're showing up. It's where these reviews are coming from. Google Maps is where those dots on the map are coming from, which is probably something that you do know. Then I don't have the Google local search results in this particular page. We're going to go and see it in a second, but before I move on, there's this sponsored box and it says hotels. This is the Google Hotel Finder. It also relies on a Google Plus page and gets its information from Google Plus. So Google Plus is incredibly important, and again, you need to find Google, you have to search on Google for your Google Plus page for your company and see first of all, if you've actually claimed your listing. In other words, they know it's you, and make sure that all of your information on there is correct. Not just that, but we'll get into some more on optimizing that. Why are you doing that? You're doing that so that you show up well in Google search results, free search results. And I would say they're organic. They're a type of organic that's local search. This is a picture of a pigeon. For those of you that know what I'm talking about, Google had something called the Pigeon Update in August, July, August, sometime this summer. And it was named Pigeon, not by Google, but by Search Engine Land that saw that Google was making drastic changes in their Google local results. Again, I had the pigeon flying away in this picture because it's sort of, you know, what you see today can be gone tomorrow. And they named it Pigeon because, well, I mean, it's flighty. They said it's not something that they expect to stick around. In terms, it's still fluctuating. Google will continue to fluctuate and or try and decide what really works well on a local basis, but they're changing it frequently. So it's hard to know what the search results will look like in a month or even tomorrow. This is how search results for Google Local looked in the last 6 months. This one's about 6 months ago on the left, and then 2 months ago on the right. And what you're seeing here is on an iPad, vastly different search results. But these search results have a lot to do with Google Local. On the left side, though, or Google Plus, on the left side, you're seeing these ads are clearly through Google AdWords with the yellow boxes. And then you also are seeing search results that are organic listings. And these are all the major, huge companies that are out there. HomeAway, VRBO.com, and VacationRentals.com, which are all three owned by HomeAway. On the right side, you see the Google Local results, where you see the Google Maps, Google Plus results, and you also see these listings. Now, these are all the Google Plus listings. And actually, our customer is Park City Lodging, and you can see that they have the Google reviews. We've optimized that page, and you can see how they stand out compared to the other companies that are on the search results for Google Local, again, coming from their Google Plus page. And again, all of this is free. It's not paid at all. But it's changing dramatically. So this is, I found this online about a month ago around Halloween. The search was for Pierre's costumes, get a costume for Halloween. You can see this blue bar. I do not see this in my phone, but that's one of the things that Google is doing. Not everyone is seeing consistent search results in any type of, it's not the device, it's not device specific. It could be geographically specific, but I have never seen this, but this is, again, an example of how Google keeps on changing its search results based on this Google Plus information. And you might ask, okay, so if it's all changing, if it's all changing all the time, why should I do anything? I should just wait till it all gets fixed. Well, no. What you really want to make sure that you do is optimize your Google Plus listing, because no matter what the search results look like, Google is continuing to provide this emphasis to its own search results, and you need to be in a good place to capitalize on that, no matter what the search pages look like. And when I say optimize your Google Plus listing, what it means is, first of all, first and foremost, claim and verify your listing. So you find your Google Plus page, you go onto Google Plus, you Google Plus, and you look for your company, and if it says that it's unverified, is this you, and asks you a question, is this you, make sure that you verify your listing. And it's pretty simple. You can definitely claim your listing and make sure that, that you can start optimizing your Google Plus page. The next thing you need to do is also make sure that everything matches. Everything throughout Google Plus and any of the local directories like Yelp needs to match exactly. In LTV, for example, or INC for Inc., it's not the same as INC period. I mean, it needs to match to the T, including periods. Make sure that your address is matching throughout the web, on your website, in Google Plus, in Yelp, in Facebook, in every single place that it's listed identically. And to the extent that you do that, the better off you are in local search. The category for your Google Plus, I would suggest lodging. They also have hotel and accommodation. They do not have rentals that are specific to this type of accommodation. So I would suggest lodging is the category that you want to make sure that you're found under. You want to make sure you put in reviews because the reviews are extremely powerful. Optimizing your Google Plus listing also means posting to it regularly, just like Facebook posts. They have a post feature. Again, you can use a tool that pushes out to Google Plus. And make sure you include photos and videos, and also make sure that you do the same type of posting in your other social media channels, because it actually benefits you in Google Plus as well. In all of search, it really helps you get better search rankings. And then lastly, but not least, make sure you have a mobile-friendly website. That will also help you in Google Plus, just like I showed you the mobile search results that showed the mobile icon. I'm going to keep going unless there's any questions. Amanda, any questions?
No, not yet.
No? Okay, terrific. All right, well, why do I have a picture of a panda here? Just like I showed the pigeon, Google has made some updates to its search results and its algorithm over the last several years. And one of the updates they had named Panda. Panda, it continues to roll out. It's not something that was done years ago and then is over. It is a continuing update release that Google keeps on doing in order to encourage all the things that are along with the Panda update. And the Panda update for Google is Google trying to make sure that it gives relevant information. What does that mean? It means that the information that people are seeing on websites is great content. And when I say content, I'm going to give you an example of something that is not terrific content. Now this looks, it looks like if you're going to buy a shoe, this would be a great page, but there's very little text on here, so Google's not necessarily seeing much about this shoe. And there's a lot of images, and images are content, and they're great. They're not, images are good, but Google can't read images. So what you have to do for all of your images on your website is put in something called alt tags, and your webmaster knows how to do that. Whoever designed your website can definitely put them on there. And you also need to name the file something that is not XYZ123, but actually this one should be, for example, Nike-shoe or Nike-lunar-ballistic, not sure how to say that, shoe. In other words, it needs to be plain English. It needs to be labeled. The file name should be named with the right words, and you should also name or put an alt tag on the image to show Google what it is. And I'm going to segue a little into partly what Google is looking for as well, which is that there are getting to be pretty important accessibility standards on the web. So if somebody needed to read this screen because they are sight impaired or blind, they would be able to know what was on the screen. If they weren't able to, if the pictures were not labeled, and if all of these graphics, like the add to cart, add to wish list, if all of these things were really graphics and not readable by Google, all you would see is just a few little words that would give you just a little bit of information and but not enough for you to really understand what it's about. So this would be an example of low content. And then there's also poor content, and I'm going to go on to that. This is an example of a website that is I found on a list of some of the worst websites out there, and no offense to Mr. Bottles, but MrBottles.com has a lot of yellow text and red text. This just scrolls on and on and on and on. It's not easy to read. It's not particularly well written, and it's not just about getting text on your page that's going to increase your content. Your content needs to be good, high-quality content. And if you want to write down MrBottles.com and have a giggle later, you should, as long as it's okay for you to have your speakers on, go ahead and go to mrbottles.com, and you'll see Mr. Bottles kind of walk out and start talking to you on this website. It's not just about text when I talk about good content. It's about good information, something that you would actually even consider purchasing. If it were a book, you would consider purchasing it as a book. So I'm talking about really good, high-quality content, and Google can tell if it's good quality content. Google can tell by seeing how long people stay on your website, how many pages they look at, whether they bounce right away when they go to your website. All of those things are very, very important, and the more that you get on your website, including some text. I mean, this is way too little text. This is too much. But if you use that tool that I showed you before called Feed the Bot, you can also see whether each page has enough content. And it's got its own number of words that they think is correct or is in terms of the right amount of content. And it seems to be right around 300 words. So I know people don't read, but Google does, and if you can also include some good text on your pages, it is recommended that you do have that content on your pages. And when I talk about content, another thing that you should really consider is not just the text, but consider video. If you can do any kind of video this year, do it. We recommend that you host it on YouTube. YouTube is also owned by Google. It gets great search results. But do some video. I'm not recommending necessarily a guy walking out onto the website like is on Mr. Bottles. I'm talking about good video that people like to watch. If you don't have that, then I wouldn't do it. Okay, in summary, and I'm about 10 minutes early. I don't know whether we'll have questions, but just make sure that everybody is aware of what I just covered, and that is that what you need to do in order to really compete in this highly competitive online marketplace is target. Really understand your customers. And you do have a great ability to go out and find out what they want. So use those channels. Use your email marketing list. Use your website. Put scripts on it this year to make sure you know who is visiting your website. You can target ads to people that have visited your website. I recommend you do that. If you do that through anything like Facebook or even LinkedIn, it is not expensive compared to Google AdWords, and it is something that you should do. So definitely do that for 2015. Make sure also that you're using multiple channels, because the more that you use multiple channels, and I mean doing AdWords, like Google AdWords, we like Bing also. Not as popular, but because a lot of people don't pay attention to it, we can find really good results for our clients. But AdWords, email, social media, and also on your website. Make sure that you do put content onto your website, whether it's blog posts or information about different events or activities that are in the area. Make sure that you optimize your website for mobile and on mobile devices. That's a definite must in 2015. I think it was a must in 2013. So you're a little late to the game for the 50% of you that either didn't know or don't have a mobile optimized website. And go and do your Google Plus page. That is free, and it is really powerful if you're able to optimize it. It doesn't guarantee you great search results, but it does give you the ability to get great search results. In other words, it's not a one-for-one. You do it and you're going to get great search results. But if you don't do it, I guarantee you're not going to do well. They really are giving more prominence to people that have optimized Google Plus listings. And lastly, build content. Make sure that your website has great content on every single page. You can go into Google Analytics. You can see the pages that are not doing well in terms of people finding the information that they need. But and when you do that, when you go and find those pages that people are not really using or not really, there's a high bounce rate or they're not really interested in, you can either improve that content or just get rid of the page. Don't keep it there. I generally like to have larger websites with many pages, but if some of those pages are really not performing well, you should consider just getting rid of those pages. So if that doesn't feel like way too much to do, and if anyone is still awake, I just have to tell you, it really boils down to this. You want to make sure that your users come to your website, have a great experience, and can find the information that they need. So that also means you're really targeting certain types of people to come to your website. You're giving them the information that they need, and they're able to purchase your services. They're able to book accommodations with you. It sounds like a lot, but as my friend Keith Cunningham says, he has a nice saying that I quote a lot, but it's ordinary things. These are not rocket science things. And if you do them consistently, they produce extraordinary results. So thank you for coming to today's webinar, and if there are any questions, I'll address them now.
Sure. Thank you, Susan. We do have a couple of questions. The first two are relating to Google+. The first is, how do you get on and get started on Google+?
Terrific. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and pull over a browser here. And so I'm going to go step by step. So Google, by the way, that looks like the drone. But apparently the European Space Agency just landed something, whatever they call it, on a comet. So anyway, that's why Google looks like that today. Okay, Google+. I'm going to Google Google+, actually. Okay. So this is what I'm talking about. You see the Google+ icon. You see Google+ here, Google+. I'm going to click on here, and I'm going to look for, well, I've got myself here. Okay, let me go back here. Let's see, Google+, and what I was looking at was Great Western Lodging. I'm going to look for my business name. So you should put your business name in right here, and then you can see whether you came up or not. In this case, it did. There's Great Western Lodging's page. Okay, and it's in this local area. It's always changing. If you don't see your business name, you might see something that Google's created for you. In this case, Google is so adamant about getting adoption of Google+ that it started creating pages. So this is a page that it said must be about Great Western Lodging. And you might find that you have something like this as well. If you only have something like this, then I recommend you claim the listing. And it would say in here, is this you? Claim your listing right here. Actually, is this your business? Manage this page. And that's how you get started with Google+.
Great, thank you. The other question about Google+ is it more important or relevant to be on Google+ as opposed to Facebook or LinkedIn because of the connection between Google?
I would go equal. I would have to say that it's equal. It's got a different purpose altogether. So it's not so much that you're going onto Google+ to get people to use your Google+ listing. It's that you'll get this great prominence in Google because Google is really supporting its own products. You go into Facebook to get the Facebook audience. That's different. And you go into LinkedIn to get the LinkedIn audience, and that's also different. And the way you use those is going to be different from the way, well, yeah, different from the way you use Google+, or you could do something called repurposing. You can use the same content in all three channels, but I can't give you one more than the others. You have to do all three, and it would be great to use a social sharing tool so that it makes it easy for you to do so.
Thank you. Another question about Google+. If it's not your page to manage on Google+, what do you do?
That's a tough one. And there's a lot of reasons why that might happen, because if it's not, say you're managing or you have corporate housing in particular buildings that you don't own, and the building has the Google+ listing. That's what I'm guessing is going on here, but feel free to contact me after the webinar if that's not where that question is coming from. But the answer that I can give you is you got to really work with it. If it's not yours to manage, then work with it, then it's presumably it's someone that you work with. You know, it's a partner of yours. It's a company that owns the building that you want to highlight. In which case, you can say, hey, I'd like to make sure that this gets optimized. Can I go ahead and do that? Or encourage them to do so. It's again no cost. You don't pay anything to Google. So the only thing is time, and if you can spend the time or you can encourage them to spend the time, then I would go approach it that way.
Okay, another question is, based on the information today, if you don't have the time or resources, what's the first thing you should do to get started?
Well, time or resources. Okay. That one's a toughie because you've got to carve it out. So if you have a website, I mean, I do think you need to have your website. These are the top five things to do. And so I'm saying, yeah, you do need to do all of these top five things. And if you don't have the time or resources, then I would suggest you do the things that, well, if you don't have time, or when you say resources, and if you're talking money, then you can't hire someone else and you don't have the time. I'd still carve out time for Google Plus because, again, it's not going to be, some of that is not continuing on. At least you've verified your listing. At least you've, made sure that the address is identical to your website. I am assuming you do have a website. And you can hire companies like mine to do the work for you, but you do have to have the resources to do so. So I guess that's the best I can answer that question.
And then this is a follow-up question to one of the Google Plus questions. What if you don't have, if your listing doesn't come up at all on the Google Plus, how do you get the listing on?
Okay, so in this case, you should see whether it's in Google Maps. I would recommend you find out whether it's in Google Maps. If it's not on at all anywhere, then follow the instructions at Google on adding your site to Google My Business. They're making it easier and easier, but there is a great starter page. Let's see if I can find it here. Let's say, I'm going to Google it, add my business. Oh, it's probably actually on Google. It's probably going to give me Google My Business. There it is. Very first unpaid link. And I would go right here, and I would get on Google and follow the information from this point on.
Great, thank you. If anyone else has any other questions, please feel free to enter those in the box. In the meantime, I do have a couple of CHPA announcements to cover. In case you weren't aware yet, the CHPA 2015 Annual Conference registration just opened yesterday, so you can register online for that, and there are multi-staff discounts available, early bird registration, several different registration opportunities, so make sure you register before the end of the year to save the most money. If you're thinking of sitting for the CCHP exam this spring, consider taking it in conjunction with the annual conference. You get the added benefit of participating in the study sessions and the cram sessions immediately prior to the exam, and it's a discounted application rate if you register in conjunction with conference. But something new that I also wanted to mention, for the very first time with any organization, Worldwide ERC is offering an in-person training module for their Global Mobility Specialist designation at CHPA's annual conference. So you can apply for the GMS designation at the ERC member discounted rate, which they are extending to CHPA members. And it includes an in-person training at our conference, 2 additional online trainings, and then sitting for the exam in case anybody is interested in getting their GMS designation. I also wanted to mention that if you haven't made your hotel reservations, to please do so as soon as possible. CHPA is one of 4 groups that will be on property that week, so we are not the only ones who will be there, and we've already increased our room block once before, so if you plan to stay on property, you should probably make your reservation quickly. For those that need CCHP recertification credits, today's webinar is worth 1 CEU credit, so all recertifications are due December 31st, and if you're not sure, you should receive a notice via email for those who are up for recertification. If you have any other questions, please get them in. I don't see any at this time, so you will receive an evaluation as soon as you exit the webinar, so please take a minute to respond to that. We'd appreciate your feedback. And thank you, Susan, for joining us today and giving us all of this information.
You're very welcome, and I just want to reiterate, if you go to blizzardinternet.com/CHPA, you can sign up for a free online marketing benchmark report, and we'd love to help you out.
Great. Thanks so much. Thank you, everyone. Have a good afternoon.
Okay, thank you,
Thanks.
Amanda.
Bye-bye.